What up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka the Cheesecake Crusader, aka the 190 time social distancing champion, aka the nigga lip master. Bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, episode 76 to be exact. This is my gaming podcast where I talk about just that. Today's date is October 8th, 2020. World is still in shambles. Had some of these debates going that I honestly didn't really care for, but you know, the world's just gonna be horrible. They're gonna try to kidnap the governor of Michigan, my hometown. It's crazy out here, man. It's ridiculous. Stop it. Stop. Get help. Get some help. Stop it. Just stop. No Michael Jordan commercial. Yeah, outside of the world still being in shambles, of course. Some actually some pretty interesting details regarding the PS5 came out this week, as well as some other various things. Take my sip. Drinking my water. So, without further ado, let's stop the dilly-dallying and get right into it. So yeah. Corona. First, a lot of details regarding the PS5 came out this week. The first, I guess, tidbit was, I guess there was an event in Japan specifically for a lot of Japanese YouTubers. I guess presumably a collaboration with YouTube Gaming and Sony, where they had like I guess a enclosed location where a lot of big YouTubers came to test out and you know get their hands on the PS5 in person. So that's exactly what happened. So it was pretty insightful. It's just seeing it now, at least in comparison or contrast with actual real people, and outside of the commercials and promos where it's like hard to get a concept of scale. It seems like the size just feels very, I guess, generally big, but fairly subjective at the same time, where it seems like, yeah, it is big, but it depends. I don't know. I know it's vague, but it's hard to really describe. It's definitely big, definitely bigger than the PS4, but it's still hard to put your finger on the scale of it in general. I guess just the design kind of alludes to it being just very, I'm making up words, sizually subjective. I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be big. I guess it's just a thing where you're just gonna have to get an idea of how it actually is gonna fit, or you won't get in the concept of how it's actually gonna be until it's in your home. So I did all the preparation in advance to make room for it, but I don't even think that's gonna be enough. But it may just skate by. Who knows? So yeah. But at least from the impressions and stuff, folks, I mean, seemed pretty, I guess it wasn't anything necessarily negative, only specifically for Japan people, which is pretty understandable, which is the button the buttons are now permanently going to be switched. So if if you're in Japan, for those that maybe don't know, in Japan, confirm, which is circle for them, and X, the X button, is back, which for us is circle. So basically, X and O is flipped for people in Japan compared to us. So now, with the release of the PS5, they said that it's all going to be one consistent button mapping in regards to that. Um, so pretty much, it just sucks just thinking like if the roles were reversed and like we had to conform to Japan's controls where circle is confirmed, the X is cancel, where we would have to adjust from X being confirmed and circle being cancel, which just having that sense of empathy as well as my share of Japanese, like I had to have a Japanese Vita where I had that struggle as well. So that's pretty sucky in general. You think they would give at least an option like the current PS4 firmware has where you can actually modify the button mappings. But I think that's messed up, especially for for Japanese folks that have been accustomed to that for years, ages even. Um, Now having to kind of conform and reprogram their muscle memory to X is confirmed, circle is cancel, which I think sucks. I mean, even as somebody who's not not in Japan or I've been closely playing the Japan versions of the consoles, but outside of like my fair share of Japanese imported games, but it's like it's obviously understandable because with that comes the different button mappings where you had to do a little bit of muscle relearning. Um, but I guess the bigger concern I have is that specifically for PS4 PS4 backwards compatibility, how that actually is going to work because I'm pretty certain some Japanese titles, let's say if you import it to a US PS4, the button mappings will still default to Japanese default settings, if that makes sense. So let's say for in Japan, a Yakuza game is, circle to confirm and X to go back or negative. Um, when you're playing the game, it would be that even though from the user interface standpoint, it actually is native to your region. So hopefully they made some way to circumvent that or remedy that, or maybe some small ass update that might remedy it. But I could see that being an annoying as issue, at least for somebody who had an imported Vita where I played US. I basically had a Japanese Vita and played US games on the Japanese Vita, which caused a lot of issues. So the first thing was that basically the by default there was no way to change it to my understanding because I don't even think the button mapping update came out for the Vita, only the PS4. But um so yeah, basically the menu would be, Japanese native, so circle to confirm, X to deny. But if you were to go into a US game, everything would be default back to US region where X is confirm, circles deny. So you could see the just confusion that starts, as well as when you are like saving for some games when you save it resorts to um the system UI as well. So in that case, you could want to go to save, and then you get out the menu and then have to go back and like, oh crap, okay. So now like on the fly you have to reprogram your memory yet again to try and do it, which is just all around a pain in the ass. So I'd say at least as long as they, iron that out, or that actually is sound when backwards compatible PS4 titles come to the PS5, or are patched or whatever, then I could give a little bit of leeway, but that's at least a big, huge oversight I could potentially see that could be a huge issue for a lot of Japanese players. Um, but it's kind of messed up. Seems like a simple firmware update, especially coming from PS4 that implemented that in a future update. It was a while ago, but still. So enough about my rant about an issue. I guess technically that wouldn't be affecting me, but I would be pretty certain a lot of Japanese fans of PlayStation would be a little bit upset about that. I would if I was in that position and I would have to conform a bit. It'd be a bit annoying, but I'd acclimate. But I guess that's essentially what it is. That it's just the thing. After time, people will conform and adjust. So who knows? Maybe some people might get crafty, creative, might make a custom PlayStation 5 controller that is. They actually literally swap the controller buttons, where then that'd be too weird, because then I guess it could work. I don't know. What do I know? Anyway, next tidbit of news. It's like actually a big trail of news this whole week that dropped, which is impressive, especially for PlayStation. But I mean, what, we're like pretty much a month away from the launch, so it makes sense that now, out of all times, they're starting to come out with stuff. So now, well, I guess this was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Sony out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was necessarily expecting it, cuz yeah, but basically I think the senior president of engineering for Sony, who obviously helped develop and manufacture the design of the console, actually did a full blown, I guess not full blown tear down of the console, but a pretty decent tear down to at least get you a good concept of what's all inside the console. Which I think it feels unusual for Sony. I don't, I can't recall like Sony doing their own tear downs of previous consoles. Like I don't even think they did like one for PS4. I'd assume they just leave it to like the YouTubers that generally do it. Just out of our natural curiosity of what makes this thing tick, essentially. But at least from what they show, it's a lot of pretty solid foundation, a lot of creativity and ingenuity, of course, that went into it. Just to touch on some of the highlights, probably I think the most notable one is liquid metal. Apparently, that's been a thing in the PC modding game and things like that, where it's pretty much a pretty strong choice in regards to um going the extra mile of cooling if done correctly, where actually you get more out of liquid metal than general thermal paste, which that was kind of news to me actually. It encouraged me to do some research on it, and that's at least the gist of what I got from liquid metal, is that it's could be a disaster if it's misplaced, or gets out of where it's intended to be location wise, but as long as it's in place, it definitely provides a substantial increased amount of cooling to the CPU of the console, PC, whatever. So that's good to hear. And now it seems like they have some countermeasures in place in case things go haywire, where the liquid metal is encased by what looks like some foam, plastic foam, or I guess general foam, whatever you want to call it. I guess one other standout was, I guess, not thinking about it too much, but the creativity and ingenuity of the stand as well. I guess some people may see it negatively as like, oh man, this thing needs a stand to actually, be level or what have you. But I mean, considering the bold direction they're going, I don't have an issue with it. But generally, you essentially would have to unscrew the stand, which, even though some people are maybe not into, but at the same time, just thinking of it from an ingenuity standpoint, it would enforce you to ensure that the stand sticks with the console and you don't lose like the screws or anything attached to it. Obviously, you can still lose it regardless, but I think that definitely by itself decreases the likelihood of you losing the screw for the PS5. Curious if what protocol or countermeasures they're gonna have for the inevitable people that will lose the screw to it. But the design looks pretty cool. So like if it's in vertical mode, you basically detach it, unscrew the screw from the bottom, and then there's a compartment on the stand that you can place the screw in and then slide it to, I guess, lock it in place in like its own little case. And then you could put the stand on some grooves on the back that are pretty, I guess, pointed out. And from there, you're now in horizontal mode, which is cool. I respect it. I it is the design is generally a bit bold for my taste, but I mean, it's a console. I think with any console where you're initially taken back and like apprehensive about, within due time, especially after I guess spending time and what growing attachment to it to some extent, you are eventually just gonna get used to it and accustomed to the look. So I do credit PlayStation for, as bold and as bold, really as bold as they are, being just that, to kind of somewhat push the envelope. So yeah, another standout feature was straight up expandable storage, which is pretty dope. So unlike the PS4, with the PS5, you can actually expand on the already established storage. So the 800 something gigabytes you'll have at launch, you'll be able to add on top of that instead of having to swap out the hard drive, which you technically can't, because how they have it engineered, at least from the teardown, it's like ingrained in the motherboard essentially. So you don't have to worry about, re-downloading the OS, reinstalling and all that stuff, I think that's a good compromise. I mean, you're kind of more than likely SOL if the hard drive goes out, but I don't really see that happening in at least the lifetime of the console that you'll have it. So I think that's totally fine. But yeah, basically, technically, you could the base supports pretty much anything NVMe M.2, with, I'm pretty sure, the requirement having the hard drive having to be 4.0, PCIe 4.0. So it seemed to accommodate all various sizes. So you can have the long version or the shorter versions. It pretty much seems like it'll accommodate everything. But I guess it's safe to be a bit apprehensive until we actually find out what the Sony's official list of supported hard drives will be, basically. So we technically don't have that yet. I know Samsung, either Sony or Samsung said that this drive will be supported. Their latest drive that came out will be supported. And I think Western Digital just today recently revealed details in terms of that compatibility, as well as the Series X also. So and then I'd say most likely the most um anticipated feature I'm looking forward to, just out of curiosity, is that from the teardown, it seems like you can actually take off the flaps pretty easily. So instantly, what I thought after seeing it is like, oh yeah, it's like we're about to see a hell of a lot of third party um, developers make various crazy different designs for you to, swap out the faceplates and, get crazy and really customize the PS5 to your own liking, which I think is pretty dope. Definitely harks back to the Xbox 360 with the customizable faceplates, which I think it's pretty dope overall. So I'm definitely looking forward to, at the very least, third party developers like making custom face. I don't even know what you call it. I guess essentially faceplates. Um, and it's crazy. It feels like the faceplates actually make up a lot of the girth of the console, at least from a length standpoint. Because when you take those off, it seems like the console's actually way more smaller. Um, when you don't factor those in. So, um, very curious to see how creative people are going to get with some of the designs, and how cool they are, and how much I would really want one, especially which I've heard. I don't know why I said that. Heard of I guess the possibility of customized, or like what's gonna happen with, like, let's say limited edition consoles, like let's see 100 million celebration console like the 500 million PS4. If that warrants a whole new design, or will they just sell you the faceplates instead, which I'd be cool with either, actually. Preferably the faceplates, because it's like, yeah, it's not much to improve on, then just keep it like that. So we'll see. But definitely a lot of potential for a lot of customization, which I'm all for. Making something more your own. I am all for that. It's like, hey, we got the same PS4. Oh man, this, guess, man, I accidentally got yours now. I doubt that would ever happen, but being real extreme, but things can happen. Let's not throw everything off the table. And with this train of PlayStation news, in the wake of the new console, also, they have announced that there's actually going to be the PSN trophy leveling is going to be changing, from the looks of it, pretty drastically. Because I think from what it was before, it was generally, I guess, a 100 digit type system, where you go from 1 to 100. I think 100 was the max, but now it seems to be more granular, from the looks of it. I forgot the conversion. I've yet to check the conversion. I think an update is coming out today. Either that or I did not pay attention, but So bronze is 1 to 199. I mean 1 to 99, which I think from the old trophy system it was 1 to 100. I think 100 being a max. But now it's 1 to 99 bronze, 100 to 199, and then 200 to 299. All those are in the bronze tier, which each one, having a more fancy icon. And then basically it's bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Platinum is 999. So for all you platinum trophy enthusiasts, you're in luck because you're gonna look that much greater. That much greater. You're gonna be able to show this to to potential girlfriends, and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Like, "Oh my." Let me let me bring back the voice out of retirement. It's been so long, I forgot which ones were which. Ugh, ugh, ugh.
Oh, wait, no, no. People do it this way. Like, oh my god, we got so many trophies, I just can't take it. Please, mommy, no, come babies.
That's that's exactly what's gonna. Ah, that's exactly what's gonna. Right, Wolfie? Immediately, it's like, hey, girl, you don't even gotta spit traditional game. You just like, hey, girl, I got that platinum score level 999. So, what you trying to do? Immediately, right then and there. Doesn't even matter environment. It's- oh my god. Just the thought of that in my head is just killing me right now. Jokes aside, it's pretty cool just to be more granular, kind of like Xbox's system of achievements and stuff. So it's it's pretty tight. I'm a fan, even though I don't. I mean, here's my philosophy about like achievements trophies. If if it's a game I really like and thoroughly enjoyed, I more than likely will try to get all the achievements for them. If it's like a game I played thoroughly, like that was fun, and I'm like, only got like three achievements left, and they're somewhat doable, then I'll probably, you know, get a little incentive and play and get them that way. Any other scenario, I generally don't. But I mean, sometimes I'll take a glance after playing for a couple hours, see maybe what are the achievements I could get preemptively, or skip ahead and not like miss, get ahead of some of the missable achievements and stuff like that. But I outside of that, I don't really hardcore go into them like I used to. Like back in high school, I was like hardcore achievement hunting. Well, but then at the same time, it's like you didn't have that many games, or you couldn't get that many games, financially. So now it's just the other issue. Now so many games, it's hard to juggle. But I think it's definitely a great solution to replayability if you enjoy the game as well, and also in some teach you about some aspects of the games you may have otherwise not explored, which that's definitely why I think trophies achievements will always have a place in the gaming space. Was that a rhyme? No, I said the same word twice. Just gonna pretend that didn't happen. I'm not a rapper though, literally. And probably in the, I guess, somewhat bittersweet news, still keeping that PlayStation train going. Choo choo. Um, Sony did also announce that they're gonna have a new web mobile PlayStation store later this month. The exact date is It's the 19th of October this month. So this will basically remove PS3, Vita, and PSP games from the web store. So that doesn't mean that you can no longer buy PS3, Vita, PSP games. You can only buy them from their respective web store. So if you want PS3 games, you have to go to the PS3 store and buy them. Which, I mean, I'm totally understand it. It's fair. I get it. It's just a pain in the ass. Last time I remember going to PS3 store itself, the online component was way faster, and with PS3 you could queue downloads in the same manner as PS4 as well, which overall it's a better experience just buying or re-downloading from the web store versus the PlayStation store. But at the same time, I get it. Is either this or the games not being in the store at all or not being able to access the store at all. Definitely take this any day. So, I think I'm pretty sure you can also buy Vita and PSP games from the PS3 web store, which may be your better option. I think considering at least the PSV for sure in terms of I know now the PSP's like Wi-Fi security is very ancient and probably not compatible with a lot of systems, and I think in turn because of the security that caps the speeds at which you can like download and stuff like that. So I think as long as you have a PS3, you should be okay. Vita as well. I think Vita's store is pretty decent, if I remember. So kind of sucks, but hey, it definitely beats um having no store at all. Um, and hey, if it makes the PS5/PS4 store more robust, all for it. PS Vita just getting keeps that nail keeps getting keeps getting solidified further and further down. Um, Shouts out to the Vita though, man. It's a hugely underrated console, I'd say. Very underrated. Anywho, that covers the onslaught of PlayStation 5 related news this week. Moving on to a little bit of the PC Master Race stuff. AMD Ryzen. AMD Ryzen. It's funny, but AMD kind of did Ryzen with their at least impressive showing earlier today, where they revealed a lot of stuff. I think mainly the CPU, new line of CPUs. I wanted to say CPU something, but new line of CPUs. The R9, or no, I think these are all. Yeah, I guess these are all CPUs. So the R5 5600X, I think the R7 5800X, R9 5900X, R9 5950X. I believe 6 core, 8 core, 12 core, 16 core. But they definitely were, boasting about the gaming performance in terms of the improvement when it comes to games and stuff like that. Obviously, you could if Nvidia's showing was any indication, huge grain of salt until we see like actual tech reviewers actually show some actual real world performance of realistic games and not like predetermined games they have that, you know, um, they may have optimized specifically for those games and versus not others. So, but from what they are saying, it does look pretty promising, especially when you incorporate the new motherboards and then with the Gen 4 PCIe, all that kind of coming together with the new graphics cards, then that seems like it's going to be pretty promising. But, you know, as somebody who's mainly been with Intel in terms of the CPU space, it's it's going to be hard for me to potentially jump ship if it's worth it. I don't know. Generally, I know the rule of thumb is you always get more bang for your buck with AMD, but I don't know. I just feel like Intel has never let me down, so why stop? But maybe may have to if the prospects are interesting enough, propelling enough, compelling enough. So we'll see. I'm not. I mean, at the same time as well, I'm not a huge PC gamer. Um, I'm sorry I exposed myself. Let me just throw in my gamer card right now. But I dabble here and there with emulators and some occasional games. So yeah, no, we'll see. We shall see. Definitely just gonna wait to get some specs, see what's recommended, what's the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the cheese of the plea. I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but anywho, new AMD Ryzen's on the way. I think in November is when pretty much the whole line releases. I believe. Yeah, I think they said like November 5th ish or something like that. So, hey, if you're on the fence, well, stay on the fence because ain't no cards available right now. Ain't no cards, bae. Specifically with Nvidia cards, just a travesty of shortages and that and whatnot. Got some bots running right now in the hopes to try to get one, but I just we don't know. You know? Moving on. Mortal Kombat out the woodwork came out of nowhere with Combat Pack 2 reveal trailer, which is kind of confusing actually the more I think about it now, because I thought Mortal Kombat 11 already had a Combat Pack 2 and 3. So I guess maybe because it's Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, that changes the dynamics. I think. Either way, Mortal Kombat Pack 2 for Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate had a reveal trailer, and I think they revealed a lot of fan favorites. I think the biggest one, Melina, which I think has been kind of toxic. The of the fans that want Melina, at least you know from what I was seeing from some YouTubers, some big MK YouTubers like True Underdog Game and name a couple. Was that some of the Melina fans aren't coming at Ed Boon the most polite way asking for Melina, so unfortunately they got what they wanted. Not wishing, just the fact that how they came at Ed Boon about it, which it seemed and felt very toxic. But either way, Melina is coming back. I'm curious. Well, they called it Combat Pack 2. Not sure if she will have a story like a lot of DLC packs. Sometimes they're story based, sometimes they aren't. But maybe with Mortal Kombat 11 also they might be closer to release. They might reveal that it's going to be another story expansion similar to Aftermath, MK11 Aftermath, which was actually pretty good. Um, so who knows? Maybe will Melina get her revenge on Devora? Find out on the next episode of Mortal Kombat 11. So, and then they got Rain. So Rain is coming back. I guess they're Rain. I mean, this is probably a testament to my not familiarity, but I guess familiarity with Mortal Kombat. I'm pretty versed with the lore and characters for the most part, but at least from a reception standpoint, I'm not too versed. I can admit that. But I guess apparently a lot of people ask for Rain, or maybe it's a little give and take. Maybe he wasn't the most requested character, but Ed Boon thought it was a good choice. I don't know. But then again, I guess a lot of these characters were in MK10, so I think it's probably easier to deviate off what was already established in MKX and kind of go that way. At least that's my theory. Because Melina was in, she was in 10. Pretty sure she was in 10. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because otherwise a spoiler wouldn't happen. But yeah. So then probably the most like, what the hell, and what in the is going on? Freaking Rambo. Freaking Rambo is was the third DLC character they showed at the end, and he is actually voiced by Sylvester Stallone. You definitely hear it. Sounds a bit older than obviously Rambo when it came out, but hey, Sylvester Stallone still. Adrian. That's not Rambo, but you get it. You get it. Yo, Adrian. That's my impression. It's great, eh? Um, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm not the biggest Rambo fan myself. Let me just say that. I mean, I haven't really watched. I think I watched a little bit of the latest Rambo. I think the Rambo reboot, or was it a reboot or actual sequel? I forgot. But either way, I'm familiar with Rambo. I guess I wasn't necessarily familiar that he was very gory in terms of his character in the movies. I don't, unless the last one was any indication, because the last one I felt was really gory as hell. So I mean, in that respect, it's like he definitely would fit right in with Mortal Kombat. So we'll see. But from what they show, they look pretty cool. Is there like a MK character I'd really want that hasn't been in? I can think of. I mean, probably very, 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 very minority here. Probably, I think his name is Cobra. Cobra's cool. I thought he was kind of cool. But I mean, they got my boy Jax in there. They got my boy freaking Johnny Cage in there. They got the ninjas in there. So I mean, that's all I need. But actually, put Striker in there. I mean, just goofy as a goofy character. I found him entertaining, but I think outside of that, they did a pretty good job, and that's probably one big commendation I could definitely give to this game is that I guess generally for the recent Mortal Kombat for sure is that right behind Smash, I think this definitely has a very great selection of guest characters, like characters I don't think you've never really seen in a fighting game that I guess that's to be judged by the actual people that play the game more than I do, but I think it's they did a really good job of the variety and, you know, I guess demand of guest characters that maybe would never be in a fighting game, which is cool. You know, outside of Smash, which is a lot of fan favorite characters of other IPs and stuff like that. So all in all, pretty dope. And I forgot, with this, they announced some other details, specifically the crossplay support. Well, crossplay and cross gen play. Because Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate will be coming to PS5, Xbox Series X, with, you know, various bells and whistles improvements that obviously will make sense to the next generation. So pretty dope. I think they said it's a free upgrade. I think to some extent, I doubt they'll give you the free ultimate upgrade, but I think you know, if you got some of the DLC, actually that's a little muddy, but at least you'll for sure get to play the base game next gen if you already bought it on PS4, which is pretty dope. Considering, you know, the very I guess uneasiness of is it gonna be a free upgrade or not? I feel like that should be a show. Is it? Is it? Is it? Is it gonna be a free upgrade or not? Just that should be a game show. Find out if it is or not. Um, cool stuff though. And in line with next gen upgrades, other interesting topic. Um, you know that one pretty dope niche. Yeah, niche is probably the best way to describe it. Niche game called For Honor. Hopefully you didn't forget about that because that game is actually pretty good. I'm guilty myself. I haven't really played much of it, but I play it. I dabble here and there. Generally when my friends are playing, but overall it's pretty good. Um, actually announced free next gen upgrade for PS5, Xbox Series X. Probably the big standout for me personally, 60 FPS. I think that's pretty huge. Going from 30 FPS on previous gen to 60 FPS. That's like, I feel like that literally changes a lot of the game off that alone, which I think maybe more not as exposed gamers, I guess, casual gamers, that maybe that might not seem as big, but I mean, in terms of a lot of timing and combos and stuff like that, I think that's pretty damn huge. So that's good to see. Get the 60 FPS treatment. Then, you know, some other various you know, graphical improvements like lighting. What's the list? Improve water reflections, improve distance level of detail, improve shadow resolution, improve texture filtering, 4K resolution for Series X, PS5, 1080p for Series S. So pretty dope. Pretty damn dope. I definitely have to give big props to Ubisoft for continuing to support this game. And I think in turn, I think players still stick with the game because of the continued support. And from at least my perception, the response to feedback that a lot of people, a lot of players of the game do have, which I think it's pretty dope, pretty damn dope. Because like, I don't know, I feel like this is a very unique game, especially like, still having that documentary back in my head of what it took to actually make this game. I don't know. I think it feels like it's a game that's hard to replicate and fully overhaul to maybe warn another one, or maybe they're just like, with the current times, a game as a service is kind of maybe just the sensible direction of this game to, probably not cut off the established player base and stuff like that. So I forgot that is a lot to consider, considering how niche this game is, and to not, fragment players. Yeah, that's probably why they maybe stuck with, yeah. So either way, it's very smart. Regardless, just, which I think is a very interesting, like, I guess, what's the word? Dilemma to have, whether to deviate deviate to a whole new sequel, which technically alienates the previous players, or combine the player base or add new people to the existing player base and go that way. Yeah. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense now the more I think about it. So overall, it's great to see this game still thriving, still getting the support it's getting, and players still playing it as they should. I'm super guilty of not playing it as much as I should, because it actually is a pretty fun game. Um, but yeah, pretty happy to hear that. Pretty damn happy. I don't know if they gave us a date when it will come out. They said it's, yeah. Well, it says the start of year 4, season 4. Will be playable at 68 plays on all gen consoles, all next gen consoles for the beginning of next season, year 4, season 4, early next December. So is it this December or next December? I think it's this December. Pretty dope either way. I mean, just to know it's in the pipeline, regardless. So cool stuff. And yeah, and then like probably the most, I'd say, unexpected news, really. One of probably the most, yeah, I'd say probably my most favorite franchise. One of my most favorite franchises, Resident Evil. Uh, Reboot is in the works, and it's gonna cast Claire, Jill, Chris, Wesker, Leon, and Birkin. So, from just the cast alone, it seems to be pretty apparent that it's gonna combine both Resident Evil 1 and 2 and make some pseudo, I guess, truncated story, or maybe some deviation off the material. Yeah. Let me just read this little description from Deadline. Constantine film has set in motion a new if I could talk, a new adaptation to add to the ever expanding Resident Evil movie franchise. Constantine and writer director Johannes Roberts said Tuesday that have conceived an official origin story adaptation with the faithful ties to Capcom's classic survival horror games. The story is set in 1998 on a fateful night in Raccoon City. Starring in the roles of the iconic game characters will be Maze Runner's Kay Scodelario, Claire Redfield, alongside Hannah, Joe Kamen, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I remember her. She was the villain. Well, what do you call that archetype? They're like a villain, but ends up kind of being a good person. I feel like there's some term for it, but either way, that's who she was. Jill Valentine, Robbie Arnell, upload as Chris Redfield. I think he looks he's a great cast for Chris Redfield. Tom Harper, The Umbrella Academy as Albert Wesker. Von Jogia, Zombieland Double Tap as Leon S. Kennedy. and Neil McDonald Yellowstone is William Birkin. Interesting. Is Neil McDonald? He looks more like Wesker. Yeah, he would have made a. I think he would have made a better Wesker, but I could see him as William Birkin with the right props and makeup and hair. Who was gonna be Albert Wesker? Um, I could see it. Okay, all right. I could see it. I could see it. Okay, okay. Yeah, with the right makeup and hair, these could all work potentially. I mean, the biggest relief to me is that fucking Paul W.S. obliterate every Capcom film known to man, Anderson, and you know the um coincidental um girlfriend that somehow keeps getting cast as the lead role as a non-canonical character uh is not involved. So I mean, I think that in of itself is a great start because just just really like six Resident Evil movies, and then you have the same premise in Monster Hunter, the same lead character in Monster. Ugh, that kind of pisses me off thinking about it more now, but whatever. I digress. Um, but yeah, at least the casting seems pretty good, at least from what we see, or at least what we have right now. It seems like the premise is way more in line with the Resident Evil material than any of those freaking horrible movies were. So that's all of this, at least, is a good basis. I think the one concern that I heard is that the producer that produced the previous Resident Evil movies will be involved in this, which is a bit concerning that we might go the same route, but hopefully with a different director. They they hopefully at least played a Resident Evil game just to get a better understanding of a of a good Resident Evil movie, because hopefully it's just not just not it all over again. Please no. So I'm looking forward to it. Of course, mildly cautiously optimistic, but the potential is there. The cast seems pretty solid. The somewhat plot or briefing seems somewhat workable. I'm a little iffy about how they're gonna blend Resident Evil 1 and 2 together, considering canonically the timeline is they're pretty decently apart. I think, was it a year? Is it a year or 3 years? I want to say 3 years. I could be wrong though, but it's a decent amount of time between the two canonically. But I mean, if they could make it blend in a respectable, understandable fashion, I could be I could give it some leeway. I guess I think that was my main issue with the Resident Evil, the original horrible Resident Evil movies, is that they they deviated too much from the original material. But, I get it. At the same time, you can't, like, word for word, or, plot for plot, or, character for character, whatever, be the exact same thing. I of course understand that, but I think there is some liberties you can take while still being true to the original material and being faithful to the original material, which I feel like the Resident Evil movies did not do. They did like a couple, references here and there, some characters here and there, but overall it was just poorly done and just showed a lack of, I guess, interest in the original material. it felt like watching those movies, a fan watching those movies, the director was not a fan of the games at all, which I feel like that's something this movie would need to appease one, the fans of the games, and two, outside people that maybe, are outside looking in that maybe have never played the game to, kind of bridge the gap and give both people a unique perspective that both can like somewhat mutually agree on. Obviously, everybody's not going to love this movie. Everybody's maybe not going to hate the movie. So, I mean, I get that, but I think there's still a good balance you can maintain to appease both sides when it comes to, I mean, even book adaptations and, you know, other various adaptations to movies. So, we'll see. Obviously, I'm not the best. I'm not the most critical movie critic in terms of generally not watching too many movies unless it is something I'm interested in, like video games. So, um, yeah. So, I mean, of course, maybe I might not be the best critic, but at least I can have that fan angle of the series and stuff like that. So, hopefully the director maybe becomes a fan over time, maybe doing some research, and uh this movie knocks out the park ideally. But the pessimism in me, as well as the history track record of video game movies, which Paul W.S. Anderson is hugely to blame for, of course, um have me doubting otherwise. So cautiously optimistic. A lot of potential. We shall see. We shall see. I mean, at least we have a reference point, or at least the director has a reference point to how horrible and at least well received the movies are. I guess unfortunately the movies sold stupid well. But hopefully we actually get a movie that's more critically and you know financially well received. So we shall see. We shall see. I really hope it's good. I really do, but I'm concerned, very much so. Very concerned. It's good they're rebooting it though, and fucking Paul W.S. Anderson. So, I'm sorry. He just is. He's just ruining. I've already said it. I've already said it. Let it go. Let it go. It's like the nerd rage in me. Oh, oh, you ruined Resident Evil. I hate it. That's what I feel like right now, which is probably not too far off. But I mean, I only say it because I care. All right, I care. I care a lot for the movie being well received, and then hey, people that maybe never play the games and be like, oh man, let me try out this game, and get people into Resident. It just, if these previous movies just give a horrible bad rep of Resident Evil, and it's just so many possibilities that can come from this movie being good versus being bad, if that makes sense. So, but I digress. Um, all right. So that pretty much covers at least all the news that stood out for me this week. We'll talk about what I've been playing lately. One thing I totally forgot about last week. I just totally slipped my mind. I forgot to put in my notes because I'd be. I guess it's kind of not really sad, but it's like I'll be playing them games. I'm sorry, but um, played Mafia Remastered last weekend. Well, the weekend before last weekend. Um, and man, game was pretty damn good. If you played the original Mafia, for like PC, and I think it got ported. I think I have the Xbox port. It got ported to original Xbox and I think PlayStation as well. Highly recommend you play this one. A lot of great improvements. The graphics are crazy. I say for sure worthwhile continuation, well not continuation, remake, faithful remake of the original Mafia for sure, hands down. Um I played a decent amount of the original Mafia, but I never beat it. I remember not beating it, but I put a decent amount of time into it. I think I got almost to the point of beating it, but I never did. I want to say I rented it. I want to say I rented it, and then yeah, just never beat it. But yeah, man. Whew. And then like going back, seeing some of the comparisons between the remake and the original version, boy, it's like night and day. It's kind of crazy how like, well, the game hasn't aged that well. Of course, that's obviously fact what the fact of the matter is, but just the comparison, just seeing how like, wow, this is how far we've come from 2001. I'm pretty sure that's when it came out. Jesus. Just yeah, the graphical fidelity. I was playing. I played on Xbox One X. I assume PC is even crazier, but yeah, graphics. Just it just feels like a modernized retelling of Mafia, which is I think is pretty accurate. It's not actually too demanding of your time, which at least these days I'm actually starting to appreciate more now that I have less of it essentially. But it's about it felt like 12 hours at least. Maybe 10 to 12 hours. It felt like that it took for me to beat it. Um so not too demanding of your time. It is linear, which I kind of liked. I'd rather a game be linear than, like have an open world with a lot of just stuff I'm not even going to want to care for anyway. So it is linear, so a mission to mission, but there is technically a free roaming, free roaming, a free roaming world where, like various, rabies infected, animals, you encounter. No, free roaming world where there's a lot of various things and public and stuff you can do too. So I played on normal mode. I think there was a classic mode you can do, which is more relative to the original. If you played the original, which I'm good. Like the classic mode was way more strict. I think the traffic laws are way stricter too. So it's not like GTA where you can like literally disobey traffic laws and run red lights and stuff and not get arrested, which you can do in this. But I think classic is more accurate, or that might be just the alternate option outside of the main difficulty. I forgot, but either way, you do have that flexibility of you want a real straight up sim 1940 simulator experience. You could do that if your heart ever so chooses to do so. But yeah, overall thoroughly enjoyed it, man. Just if you're in for like a traditional third person shooter with like a I guess Godfather Scarface-esque story. I only watched Scarface, so I can't really attest to Godfather. I assume it has some inspirations from that. So, but either way, pretty solid game. I do recommend it. I think it's only like $40 when it came out, or you can get the Mafia collection, which includes Mafia 1, 2, and 3. I haven't played 2 and 3 yet. Now, after playing 1 and beating 1, it definitely encourages you to play 2 for sure. I don't want to spoil anything, but they took some liberties in integrating this one more in line with Mafia 2 at least. And I guess maybe in retrospect 3 also, but I have yet to find that out. So, but man, yeah, pretty awesome story, I'd say. One of the better stories I played this year for sure. So, again, highly recommend it. And next I played dabbled a bit into I think it's called Mario 35, or is it called Mario Battle Royale? Either way, it's the Mario Battle Royale game that you can you can download if you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Until March, I think the same cutoff as freaking Mario 3D All Stars. But it's pretty fun. Um, it how do I describe it? It's it is. I mean, I guess at the surface, elevator pitch, it essentially is Mario, but if you make it battle royale, I guess if you just want the quick pitch cut, that is essentially what it is. But I guess the more you dive into it, or I guess experience it, it feels like it's more like play the original Mario against other people and hope they fail, really. I guess it's kind of what it feels like to me. Feels like Mario attrition, I guess. I feel like that might be a I mean, that's obviously not the most appealing title of the game, but I feel like that's more accurate of what the game is, because it feels more like a battle of attrition in terms of going through the stages and basically just don't die. I feel like I never really, the time didn't necessarily count until I guess towards the end of like the placement, when there's only like you and like maybe four or five other people. Then time becomes more of an issue. But I'm not sure if that's maybe a factor of some of the components you can use in the game, where basically there's like, I guess kind of like Tetris 99, where you can basically thwart the other people in the game to kind of slow them down, or, increase their likelihood of dying. Where basically you can like add more monsters. I think all the monsters you kill, they spawn on in their game. You can directly have revenge on a person that's trying to attack you. You can spend your coins to get a power up and stuff like that, but none of it I necessarily wanted or felt I needed to do necessarily. If I was getting attacked a lot, or just getting attacked in general, sometimes I would just attack back the person that was attacking me, but never really seeked out to try to attack people. I guess I was just focusing on the game, trying not to die. Which basically, if you die, that's it. Obviously, you're done, and then you have to start over. Um, it seems like the leveling is random, so there's basically a standard level segment. After you beat that level, you spawn, which it kind of feels like it's a random level. It may not be, hard to say, but I would assume it's random, just to kind of add more variability to the game and make it more, I guess, engaging and on your feet, and not as, I guess, predictable. So I'm gonna assume it was random, but at least the matches I was in, it felt fairly consistent. The, I guess, cadence of the maps and whatnot. So overall, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but got like second, third place a couple times. I mean, two. So clearly, obviously, I'm the best Mario 35 player known to man. Not even being in a game like that in life. So, some of us are blessed with it, some of us are cursed. It's how the cookie crumbles. Just gotta get used to it. I don't know what to tell you. I may actually play again to kind of get that number one spot. I think it's after I get place number one, then I'll be like, okay, I'm done. That's probably my uh pinnacle, if anything. But overall, pretty fun. At least the initial experience, and it's free if you have a Nintendo Switch Online. So I say it's worth checking out at the very least. Especially if you're a fan of Mario, of course. Um, Modern Warfare, man. Double XP was this past weekend, and when there's a double, well, actually no, triple threat XP, not double XP, but triple threat, where double everything, battle pass tier XP, weapon XP. So whenever there's a triple threat, I gotta connect. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what I did. Played hardcore this past weekend, trying to rank up. I got to level 20, I think. Playing the whole weekend. And enjoyed it all. It's just something fulfilling about this game with the progression and the challenges that kept me engaged. I don't know. I guess just the um decent I don't know, dopamine of fulfilling an objective and goal and accomplishing it or whatever. So um yeah, I pretty much put a huge dent in pretty much most of the half of my challenges for this season. Um I've also been more, I guess, sparingly about my tickets for what's it called, challenge tickets or trial tickets, since I feel like this is gonna be last season. But been through some YouTube videos and stuff, it seems like there's gonna maybe be more seasons, question mark. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait until Black Ops comes out, see if there's gonna be a new season. If that's the case, then I'll maybe just buy that new season again. Because I was like, if this is the last season, I'm just probably just gonna cash out on all the money I got, or saved, or accrued over all the various seasons that they give you a little bit for each season that you complete battle pass wise. So now that there might be speculation that there might be a new season with actually some additional content, which is going to be very weird in comparison to Cold War, if that's the case. I guess it could happen, but I don't know. Either way, yeah. So, same old Call of Duty, Modern Warfare is great. Yada yada. What I actually been putting some time into this week though, EDF 5 game got me by the hooks. Won't let me go. I'm like, stop EDF, please. No, I just want to do other stuff. EDF is like, no. You know what? You ain't going nowhere. You playing right now. That's an order. I guess because EDF, Earth Defense Force, it's an order. But no, thoroughly enjoying it. Just the very subtle improvements are really good. Just a little small addition of a sprint for your ranger makes the game like way more enjoyable, engaging, where you're not wasting, like, literally, if you accrue it all through the various missions, like hours potentially of you know trying to pick up armor and weapons to hopefully you get a good roll and get a upgrade or whatever. But that, as well as a unified progression now, so you don't like have that archaic annoying aspect of somewhat like Monster Hunter in a way, where it's way easier for you to switch classes than to have to like start from scratch if you want to go from one class to a different one, if that makes sense. So I'm really appreciative of just some of those minor quality of life stuff. Like that alone, just whenever you get armor, weapons, sometimes you'll get it for different classes and stuff, which I guess is maybe a double-edged sword to an extent where, that's more items you can get for yourself, more odd roles you could get for your character, but essentially it's pretty good. It doesn't feel like, I guess, unbalanced or anything like that. But like, I guess in retrospect, after playing pretty much majority of it, I plan on at least trying to beat it tonight. Is the um familiarity with Earth Defense Force 4.1. It feels like it's very similar from a mission pacing cadence standpoint. Very similar to Earth Defense Force 4.1 with like subtle minor differences, like with some some more or less deviations off of the same characters where they like look different but essentially are the same in behavior and stuff. Um which like in retrospect was a bit disappointing, but I mean it's like when you think about it, it's still like Musu games where it's essentially what the Musu games have pretty much been doing as well. With I guess even like sports games to some extent, where minor improvements here and there, but essentially the same thing. But I don't know. I feel like I wish the game had more evolution, if that makes sense, from 4.1. The improvements they made, I don't feel like were very drastically different, but they were substantial. That makes sense. So I don't know. Overall, I am thoroughly enjoying it though. I mean, as the negatives aside, I'm still playing it and progressing through the missions. I think I'm on mission 70-ish now. I think there's 110 missions, I want to say. The missions vary in length as well, so who knows? Maybe just I foresee myself beating it tonight, but we'll see. And of course, Among Us, the game that game is still fun. It just still amazed at the creativity of that game. Just like how one, I didn't even know about the game, and obviously the wildfire popularity brought it up to a lot of people's eyes, and therefore increased popularity further. But yeah, played few, had a couple good sessions as well. So now get into what I've been watching. Walking Dead season finale. Finally the payoff that our balls were blue, for obvious reasons, pandemic. We actually got resolution 2. I guess I don't necessarily want to spoil it, but very, very conclusive, I'd say. Fulfillingly conclusive for this season. So pretty cool. And yeah, I forgot, like, now knowing next season is going to be the last, even though it's going to be much longer, and I guess more than likely more drawn out, like similar to Game of Thrones. Very curious to see what's going to happen now. So I mean, it's like I'm already been invested now. It's like, why stop now? So definitely like the note at least they left on in this season. So then, of course, what AMC loves to do, they shovel in other related stuff. Hey, you like Walking Dead? Hey, we'll show the next Walking Dead, or I forgot what this is called, but I think this is like technically a one-off season type deal or something like that. Which is The Walking Dead: A New World, which I think canonically takes place years after The Walking Dead, I guess the original. And I think Fear the Walking Dead is a little bit either behind or like I think parallel to the original Walking Dead. But I feel like they caught up considering that crossover episode with Morgan and the Walking Dead cast. So I don't even fucking know anymore with that. I clearly I haven't kept up with it. So that's kind of how I feel about this one. I'm just lukewarm on it and not sure how I feel about it. I mean, it's like, okay, Walking Dead with young kids. That's at least the impression I got from the pilot. But I don't know. It's like, it's not Rick. It's not Daryl. It's not all the characters I'm been used to for all these years now. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I don't know. I just don't see myself sacrificing time to watch this. And the Fear the Walking Dead either. Like I still gotta catch up on that. And I'm like, I'm not in a rush to watch that really. But if it was Walking Dead, I'd be like, I'll watch it immediately. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess essentially the season premiere didn't wow me that much. It had some interesting twists and turns towards the end. I won't spoil, but I don't know. I don't. Outside of that, I actually got back on the slam dunk train. I was slipping on it a little bit, but caught up on a couple episodes. What they're still it feels like Dragon Ball in a sense where like, next time on Slam Dunk, where it's like, this whole basketball competition is spanning like 3-4 episodes. It's like, can we just finish it already? It's like I kind of get the frustration now with, well, at least I guess the most popular is Dragon Ball, where, takes like 5 episodes to finish a fight. And then even after that, there's a new contender. And then it's like, in this episode of Dragon Ball Z, will this new fighter actually, survive for the next 20 episodes? Yeah. So periodically catching up on it when I want to. So outside of that, pretty much been it for me. Yeah. So I think outside of that, that pretty much covers it. This episode of Switches Sites. If you do enjoyed this podcast, feel free to like, rate, subscribe, good or bad, on your the various podcasting platforms that you're listening to this on. Did I announce this last week? I may have, but either way, just to be sure. We actually now are on Amazon Music as well. So if Amazon Music's your thing, you're like, hey man, Switch's site is not on this. I don't like this. I'm not even gonna listen to it. Well, my friend, have no fear. All right, just for you, we're on Amazon Music. You're welcome. To be honest, I guess technically approached me about it, and it's pretty easy to not switch over, but add an additional platform. So, if that makes you feel any better, I don't know. Who am I trying to prove? You can also catch this podcast recorded live on Twitch TV/aswitch. I also upload the archives of this podcast on youtube.com/aswitch as well. If you're the type that likes to listen to YouTube in the background, whatever, for a podcast. So you have no excuse. Every platform possible. What are you waiting for? It's easy. I was trying to emulate the Everest commercial with the one dude. You're sitting at home on your couch doing nothing. Get up and do something. That same energy. What else? If you have any questions you'd like to submit to the show, feel free to submit them at aswitchtv@gmail.com. If I have enough, who knows? Out of the blue, may have and pop up email segment. You never know. You know, it's like a mystery Pokemon. You throw the ball, you hope it's gonna get caught. Then on the third one, it may pop out. You never know. That might be the email portion. You're like, oh shit, email. Oh my god. I don't, that's that's just what I fantasize. I don't know. It's what I fantasize. I guess you know. Hey, let people dream. Um. Well, yeah, you can also follow me on Twitter at a switch, where I do tweet about games, and I am sorry in advance, you may see a booty, you may see some boobs. I apologize, but I mean, I'm only a man, okay? A single man. Let's let's let that be clear, okay? Because I know some of y'all is like, hey, if you accounted for and you liking boobs and booties on platforms, what type of man are you? You know? Hey, and I'm not judging anybody. Hey, maybe, you know, in your relationship, that's fine. Some women, I'd say maybe arguably most, don't like it. And like, hey, you're supposed to be liking my pictures. I guess that's the horrible thing too. You're liking like all these various other girls except your girlfriend's pictures. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to incite any drama, okay? It's not my place. It's not my place. I'm sorry. In advance. Sorry, John. Sorry. Sorry, Dale. Didn't mean to out you in front of your wife. All right. My apologies. I apologize. Is that it? I think that covers it all for this week. So, you know, of course, guys, be safe. This pandemic is not gone. Also vote. I did actually vote. I got at least in California, I got my ballot pre my mail-in ballot. Filled it out pretty much immediately and shipped that bad boy with the quickness, cuz this election is I mean, it's like I guess you could argue the whole thing about voting, but this election, I mean, I feel like it's like I'm not trying to be as neutral as I can, but you really have no choice, I guess. Not in the negative sense, but in the sense of if I don't vote, basically. So I think definitely vote. This is my first year voting, admittedly. Just a lot of various complications in terms of registration beforehand, but now I have no excuse. I registered and I voted. I got my confirmation that they received, post office received my ballot. So I let my voice be let my voice be heard. You should let yours be too, if you want to try and put America in some redeemable state. I don't know. Just like these debates, just everything's in shambles. It's all horrible. But either way, till next time, guys. Don't cough. Don't touch people that don't want to be touched. Get your game on. Aw, yeah.